Picture a small, out-of-place building in Nasholem, a structure that doesn't quite fit in with its surroundings. There it stands, a testament to a unique architectural style, distinctively different from the rest of the modern, Western-style buildings that crowd around it. This intriguing edifice, built in an old Arab style, seems to whisper of a past that's not in harmony with the present. Back in 1991, a local resident, inspired by the stunning beauty of the region, decided to establish a diving center. He chose a spot right next to this anomaly of a building. Workers arrived, equipment was set up, and the air buzzed with the promise of a new venture. The drilling began, penetrating the layers of time and earth. But then, quite unexpectedly, everything came to a halt. Barely a few feet into the ground, the workers stumbled upon something that sent a shiver down their spines. Human bones. The skeletal remains, disturbingly close to the surface, were a stark reminder of lives lived and lost, stories untold. The workers downed their tools, the equipment fell silent, and an eerie calm descended upon the site. The discovery was so shocking, so unsettling, that the project was immediately suspended. The once bustling site was deserted, the workers never returned, and the dream of a diving center faded into oblivion. The small out-of-place building was left to stand guard over the bones, its secrets buried deep within the earth. The area, which was once filled with the sounds of construction and anticipation, now bore an uncanny silence. The building, standing in the heart of modernity yet so deeply rooted in the past, became even more of an enigma. It's as if it has been silently waiting, holding on to its secrets, yearning for someone to uncover the truth of its existence. And so, the project was abandoned, leaving the building and its hidden history untouched. The bones, the building, and the mystery they represent continue to intrigue those who stumble upon this curious corner of Nasholem. Yet, the full story of this mysterious building and the secrets it holds remains shrouded in the mists of time. Enter Fuad Sayadir, a local hunter from the nearby village of Firdaus. A man of the land, Fuad had grown up hearing whispered tales of a time long past. One day, his curiosity piqued by the sudden halt of a construction project, he approached the project owner. Why had they stopped? The answer was simple and chilling. We found human bones a long time ago. These were not just any bones, Fuad explained. They were the remains of Palestinians, brutally killed in 1948 and buried right here. His grandfather had shared stories of this massacre, of mass graves now covered by parking lots. This place, once a peaceful fishing village called Tantura, was the scene of a forgotten tragedy. But what of Tantura now? After the massacre, the Arabs left, migrating to the safety of nearby Firdaus. In their wake, settlers established the kibbutz of Nasholem, and Tantura was renamed Dor. The buildings rose, the memories faded, and the bones of the slain lay undisturbed beneath the surface. And yet the truth has a way of resurfacing, of refusing to be silenced. The story of the massacre was not just a tale shared among the locals. It was a dark chapter of history, hidden in plain sight, a battle, they called it, between Arabs and Israelis during the War of Independence. But Fuad knew better. The people of Tantura were not soldiers, they were not armed, they were not prepared for a battle that ended before it began, a massacre that started with the surrender of the people and ended with their lives. This tale of a forgotten massacre remained a whispered secret until 1998, a secret buried deep, like the bones of the slain, waiting to be unearthed. A secret that would be brought to light by an unlikely hero, a student named Teddy Katz. But that, dear listeners, is a story for another time. For now, let us remember Fuad Hashadia, the man who dared to speak the truth and remind us all of a past that should never be forgotten. In 1998, an Israeli student named Teddy Katz decided to delve deeper into the history of Nasholem for his master's thesis. Katz, intrigued by the whispered tales and hidden truths, set out to unearth the reality of the events that transpired on May 23, 1948. His journey led him to the Alexandroni Brigade, a military group in the Israeli army. The soldiers, veterans of a bygone era, were hesitant, but eventually opened up about the storming of Tantura. Katz listened, his heart pounding as he realized the magnitude of the events that were unfolding. The narrative that emerged was not one of a fair fight, but a massacre. The people of Tantura, he learned, were not armed. They had not been prepared for a battle. The so-called battle was over before it had even begun. But the end of the fight did not bring peace. Instead, it marked the beginning of a horrifying massacre on the morning of May 23rd. The Israeli soldiers ransacked the entire village of Tantura. They divided the men from the women. The women were stripped of anything valuable and exiled, their dignity tossed aside like the rubble of their homes. The men, including boys as young as 13, were herded together on the beach. Katz's findings were shocking. From the depths of these interviews, he discovered a brutal reality of beatings, executions, and mass burials. Men like Amir Cohen, a soldier in the brigade, casually spoke of the many people they had killed, their exact numbers lost in the chaos and carnage. The survivors of this massacre fled to Syria, their homes and families ripped away from them in a violent frenzy. Those who remained in the nearby village of Firdaus lived in the shadow of a painful past, unaware of the exact location where their families were buried. Teddy Katz's research painted a grim picture of Tantura's past, one that contrasted sharply with the idyllic beach town it had become. His revelations shook the foundations of history, exposing the truth hidden beneath the surface. The truth of Tantura was a far cry from a simple battle. It was a massacre, hidden under the guise of a war. The story of Tantura found its way to the silver screen in a film directed by Alon Schwartz. This film starkly portrayed the events of 1948, revealing a narrative far removed from the battle that had been presented in official accounts. The film brought to light the tales of unarmed villagers, unprepared for the onslaught that was to befall them. Tantura was not a battlefield, but a site of violence and brutality. The village was ransacked, its inhabitants separated by gender. Women were stripped of their possessions and cast into exile. Men and boys, as young as 13, were herded onto the beach. The film chillingly depicts these men being placed into barrels, shots ringing out, their lives extinguished in a horrifyingly systematic manner. Amir Cohen, an Israeli soldier, was asked about the number of people he had killed that day. His response, a chilling, "I don't know, I killed a lot," is a haunting testament to the scale of the violence. Survivors of this onslaught found refuge in Syria, while others remain in the nearby village of Firdaus, a stone's throw from the place where their families were massacred. For years they were unaware of the exact location where their families were laid to rest, their stories silenced by time and systemic suppression. The film Tantura brought these stories out of the shadows, giving voice to the survivors and shedding light on the events of that fateful day in May 1948. The film served as a stark reminder of the brutality of conflict and the human cost of displacement. Despite the attempts to suppress the truth, the stories of Tantura continue to resonate, a testament to the resilience of those who survived and the memory of those who didn't. As the film rolls its final credits, we are left with a lingering sense of sadness, but also a determination to remember and acknowledge the past. The reality of Tantura was a chilling tale of violence and displacement, but its physical evidence remained hidden. The film Tantura serves as a powerful reminder that history, no matter how painful, must be faced, understood, and acknowledged. It was not until May 2023 that the final pieces of the Tantura puzzle fell into place. With methodical precision, the Forensic Architecture Agency began the daunting task of uncovering Tantura's buried secrets. Using their expertise, they identified and located the mass graves, the final resting place of Tantura's lost souls. These graves, once a poignant reminder of a brutal past, have undergone a chilling transformation. They now serve as the foundations for parking lots, hotels, and entertainment venues. It's a surreal landscape where sunbathers and vacationers unknowingly frolic above the remains of the massacred villagers. But this transformation is not just a physical one. It's a deliberate erasure of history, a systematic silencing of voices that dare to speak of the atrocities committed here. This is where the Nakba law of 2011 comes into play. This law, enacted in Israel, prohibits the publication of any information about the Nakba, the mass exodus of Palestinians during the 1948 war. The Nakba law didn't stop at stifling the voices of the present. It reached into the past to erase the groundbreaking revelations of Teddy Katz. His master's thesis, a comprehensive exposé of the Tantura massacre, was forcefully withdrawn. The government didn't stop there. They banned the books of Eyal Weizmann, the founder of forensic architecture, another voice daring to challenge the official narrative. So what we have left is a distorted reality. A reality where the past is buried under modern infrastructure and silenced by oppressive laws. A reality where the voices of the victims are drowned out by the sound of crashing waves and the laughter of beachgoers. But the truth has a way of surfacing, of breaking free from the chains of oppression. And as we peel back the layers of this distorted reality, we're left with the haunting tale of Tantura. The history of Nasholim, once a fishing village called Tantura, is a haunting tale of hidden massacre, silenced voices, and a forgotten village buried under the sands of time.